If you are out there and if you have a question or just want to say hi, you've got the chat button down at the bottom of the app. And I think it might be somewhere in the upper right hand corner if you're on the on the site. Let's go ahead and get started in any comfortable seated position. You can prop the hips up if you'd like. You can work with the mudra, the first finger and thumb together. You can interlock the fingers and have the thumbs touching. Any gesture, we can relax the arms and the shoulders and settle into the physical body. Let your eyes rest at one point, either internally or externally. So always helps to slow the mind down. Depending on what we're coming from, or even if we feel like we've got something to go to after class. Just connecting with the breath, the sensations in the nostrils, the throat, movement in the rib cage will all bring us back to the present moment. Notice your inhalations and exhalations lengthening on their own by bringing attention to the breath and those sensations. As we keep our attention on our breathing pattern and the physical body, we'll start to bring some attention now to our intention for class. This could be something you'd like to manifest in terms of your health or well-being. It could be a spiritual aspiration you have within your own heart. As you continue to focus on that intention, take the next 3 breaths with awareness at the heart center, right behind the sternum. Palms together in front of the heart center. We ask and trust that our practice today supports this intention and moves it toward its fullest expression. We'll chant Hare Om 3 times together. Inhale. Let's start on our backs today. We're going to take it pretty easy. I know a lot of you are in the Midwest or elsewhere where there's a little bit of heat wave going on for this day. So we're going to take it a little easy. Will be a couple opportunities to do some more challenging things. But let's start off just by bringing ourselves onto the back with knees into chest. Maybe take the knees a little wider, about shoulder width, so you get a little more room for the hips. You can grab your shins, you can wrap the arms around the shins. Just make sure your shoulders and head's down the floor, you're not straining your neck. Sometimes even a blanket under the head feels good here. And then you're going to do some rocking from side to side. You just want to get a massage of the muscles along the spine, the upper back. Let your head move from side to side too, so you get a little gentle twisting and stretch for the upper back, neck. That might even start to release some tension in your jaw. So just make sure that the lips are closed, you're breathing through the nose, but you're not clenching the jaw, pursing the lips. An initial stretch for the lower back and the hips here, a little compression for the navel. Check in with your breathing pattern. We don't have to correlate the breath with movement. Just make sure you're not holding the breath in or out. Find our way back to center. With the sole of the left foot on the floor with the knee bent. Take the right leg straight up to the sky. Interlock fingers behind thigh or calf, whatever's available to you and comfortable. If you want to straighten out that left leg onto the floor, you can feel free to do that. We'll settle into the right hip. Make sure if your leg is straight, the left leg is straight, toes point straight up. Ankle rotations on this side, so you get a good range of motion. Anywhere between like 8 or 15, depending on how fast you're moving here. We're going to go in both directions. So get a good 8, like I said, 8 to 15 rounds in on this side. Feel the back line opening up here through the calf, the hamstring. Make sure we reverse the direction if you haven't already. And we're cultivating about a 5-second breath in and 5-second breath out. And then what we're going to do here is keep this leg up. Now this leg may not be perfectly bent. You may even have the thigh down here, which is fine. Either bind works. And then I want you to focus on the engagement of your abdominal muscles right below your rib cage and roll the spine up and tuck the chin toward the collarbones. Don't strain it forward. And then focus on the navel. Draw the leg in maybe a little bit closer. Maybe bend the knee more. Focus on your breath. You're going to feel more expansion happening in the middle and upper back area. And then we're going to release and lower. Then we're going to bring the sole of the right foot down first, knee bent, left leg straight up. Interlock fingers, find that bind with thigh and calf. And the leg may not be perfectly straight, that's okay. If you did straighten out the left leg on the last side, straighten out the right leg here. And then start with those ankle rotations. Also, you might play around too with the toes, just kind of flexing and extending the toes and working that whole foot and ankle joint. And get 8, 15 on each side. Somewhere between there. And then we're going to keep that bind. We're going to engage navel. Keep breathing as you roll the spine up on this side. Make sure you're not shrugging the shoulders, but you may use the upper back and arms to draw that thigh in a little closer toward the left side of the navel. And then we'll release that bind. Bend left knee, sole of left foot on the floor. Bend right knee, sole of the right foot on the floor. Feet about hip width distance apart. And then make sure upper back feels supported before you lift the hips up. Engaging the glutes. Root through the ball on the big toe, pinky toe in the center of the heel. Keep the hips up. Take both arms up toward the sky and see how far you can take them back toward the floor. So any pinching, you're going to stop before that's happening. You can take the backs of the hands all the way to the floor, take the backs of the hands to the floor. As you breathe in, you might find a little more expansion now in the front line of the body and the sides of your rib cage. Let's stretch for the navel now. Stay rooted through the sole of the foot, strong back line to the legs and glutes. Relax the arms if they are on the floor. And then we're going to lower the hips down. Keep the arms up alongside the ears. Now again, if there's any pinching, you're going to have to lift the arms up toward the sky more. But just notice if the arms are down, right, we start to get that thoracic spine opening. Right, you engage the lower belly a bit more to accentuate the lengthening of the spine. Just see how that feels for you. And you can always lift the arms up a little bit if it's too intense. A couple more breaths here, especially if we've been sitting at a desk all day. And it starts to open up that upper back area for us. Then we'll sweep arms to a T formation. I got my couch in the way, so I gotta bend my elbow here. And then I'm going to take feet a little wider than the hips, about mat width distance. We'll do some windshield wipers, knees to the right, turn the head to the left. That will be our exhale. This will be our first breath enhanced movement here. Inhaling, knees to the center, and exhale, knees to the left, and turn the head to the right. Back to center, that's one round. We're going to go back and forth here. Connect your breath with your movement. Start noticing some of these deeper hip muscles freeing up around the sacrum, front of the hip, lower back. One last round, one more to the right, one more to the left. And then back to center. Do one more squeeze in of knees toward the shoulders. And then from here you can either rock off to the side or rock up symmetrically. And then let's come back to a seated position. So if you want the hips propped back up again, go ahead and do that. Hips a little higher than the knees. It will be helpful here. And we'll take one ankle in front of the others, keeping it simple in terms of the legs. And then let's go ahead with one ankle in front of the other. Let's have your left ankle in front. The left ankle in front, you're going to have your right hand down to the floor. Your shoulder, hip, and wrist are all in the same plane here. I'm already starting to lean a little bit. I'm going to soften the shoulder down and bend the left elbow so upper back feels strong. I'm going to sweep this left arm up and then over toward the head. And then lean a bit more and feel like I'm lengthening here. If you're starting to shrug in the shoulder, you might take the hand further away. You might bend the elbow a little bit more. And then open up the chest toward the wall that you're facing. So if you feel like you're turning toward the floor, let's see if you can open up the chest a little bit more. And take a few breaths here. Make sure you're not just drawing the upper arm bone out of the shoulder socket. And as you breathe in, notice the expansive quality of the inhalation move through the flanks of the body. Activate these side muscles on the way up as we inhale. And we're going to switch sides. We're going to take that left hand to the floor. We're going to switch the cross of the legs first. Sorry about that. And then once you have that support of the left arm, shoulder down, strong in the upper back, right arm up toward the head. Doesn't have to be directly over the face. Again, if you're shrugging the shoulder or if you're jamming the shoulder up to try to get it back far enough, don't worry too much about that. You just want to find that as you take the arm over the head like so, then or toward the head, that you're getting a little more space here in the upper side line. Soft gaze at one point. Follow the breath into the body. Notice how the body responds to the breath. Inhale will come up and center. This is going to be another breath enhanced movement. Make sure we're always lengthening here when we're going into the twist. We'll have that opportunity to do when we're inhaling, coming back through the center, and we're going to exhale into the twist. Let's take both arms forward, up, and slightly back. This will be our inhale. As we exhale, we're going to twist toward the left. You're going to take your right hand to the thigh, left hand or fingertips come back to behind you to support that length and lift as you open chest toward the wall on your left. On your inhale, come back to center, both arms up. Take that opportunity to lengthen, and then exhale and twist, left hand to the thigh, right hand comes back there, supports the length as you twist, and then go back and forth at your own pace. This is going to be connected to your breathing pattern. Take the opportunity to follow through with the twist in the cervical spine or the neck, right towards the end of the exhalation. Make sure we're not jutting the chin forward, keeping the chin parallel to the floor. Like we're twisting from the waist, that lower rim of the rib cage, hips are fixed here, so maybe you're not going or feeling like you're going into your deepest twist here. Don't want you to force anything with the hips fixed here on the floor. The twists will be more isolated or targeted in the spine. We'll do one more to each side. Center to finish that round. Take your time if you're still wrapping up that last round. We're going to come on to all fours next. You can take that bolster, blanket, or block from underneath the hips off to the side. Wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. Simple spinal wave is next. Tailbone, chest, and head are all going to lift up as you take your first breath in this shape. Keep the head up as you exhale, start to tuck the tailbone, feel lower, middle, upper back move, relax the neck at the end, and then we keep the head heavily as we tip the tailbone back up at the beginning of our inhale, and follow the wave-like motion up the spine to the headless up last. You'll continue with that at your own pace, articulating the movement as best as you can, and letting your inhalation and exhalation be 1 to 2 seconds longer than the movement. That contraction of the navel all the way from the lower belly up toward the rib cage at the end of the exhale, and a gentle stretch in the navel during the inhale. We'll do one more round with this one. And all fours with a neutral spine. Move through all the fingertips, pour it through the upper back, knees in closer toward the midline. Right leg lifts up, keep knee bent, strong right glute, hip circles, right knee off to the side, forward and center. So one, we just want to make sure we're not holding the breath in or out. Neck pretty neutral, both arms straight, supportive. Reverse the direction, stay on the same leg. Knees close together, shift body weight, check in with weight through palms and fingertips, and then switch sides. Reverse. Close together, and then hands a little wider than the mat, fingers pointing opposite direction. We'll take those side hip stretches, keep both palms on the floor as you take hips from side to side. Another breath enhanced movement. Take your time with this one, especially during the inhale. You might rush through the center. You just take a little pause there, just leave it at the top of a roller coaster, and then let the hips drop slowly, letting gravity and body weight play out there, while managing some control, the hips shifting toward the floor. just as much of a breathing exercise as a physical exercise right now. Find your way back to center. And then we'll take the knees wide, big toes stay touching, and hips back toward heels for child's pose. Arms stretched out in front. Settle rib cage between thighs. Relax the neck muscles. Take a few breaths here in Balasana. And we'll lift heart and head up and slowly move the head forward. You're going to come all the way down to belly and thighs. Strong back and chest. And then we'll lengthen the navel once we're down. Lift the chest up. Bring the flat of the belly down. And then we'll interlock fingers over the hips. Keep the feet about hip width distance apart for locust pose. Engaging the glutes, lifting the feet. And lifting the heart up. Free breathing here. We're going to rely more on the sides and upper back, chest to move as we breathe in. Lower it down. Release the hands, slide the arms forward, elbows under the shoulders, forearms over shoulder width distance apart. For Sphinx pose. Get the feet now about mat width distance apart. Settle into the thighs and hips. Keep an strong upper back and broaden the collarbones. Follow through with your breathing without creating tension in your jaw, neck, or top of the shoulders. So as you breathe in, just notice if you create tension in your neck, jaw, and shoulders, and only take as much of a breath in where you can maintain more relaxed feeling in those three areas of the body. See if you can get more attention, movement into that space right towards the center of the body, between the rib cage and the spine. So feel like that lower part of your rib cage and the spine gets a little more movement, and then slowly that will start to expand up into the chest without creating that tension in your upper back and neck. Take a few more breaths here. If this feels like it's too much, you can always move your elbows further forward to lengthen the lower back more. Last round. And on the next inhale, we'll let the elbows splay out. We'll lower chest and chin. Slide hands next to shoulders, under by chest. Curl the toes under, push chest and belly away from hips. Hips move back. Downward facing dog with hips backing up. A little free movement there with the legs if you'd like. Bending one knee, pressing through opposite heel and switching. Keep regulating the breath. 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out. It's a good place to start. We'll take the left knee behind the left wrist for one-legged pigeon pose. We're going to take variation here where we settle down into hips as evenly as possible. Take your time to get the lower half of the body established. First variation, start to walk the hands off toward your right. Now you're going to feel like you're going to want to sink into your right hip. Stay settled into your left hip, just as a cat. Lengthen the left rib cage away from the hip. Got some side stretching here and a little bit of a twist. To accentuate the twisting action, keep this right arm supportive and reach the left arm further forward as you push the palm into the floor, and then the chest will start to turn a bit more toward the wall behind you. Checking with hips, relaxing the unnecessary tension in right thigh. Hold the twist here. We've got pretty deep flexion with external rotation in the thigh here. You need support underneath your left hips and discomfort in the hip or knee, support that left hip. If you've got little pinching in the lower back, then you're going too far with the twist. You might come out of that twist a little bit. You might support the left arm on the floor. There's a couple options there to make sure you're getting all these directions of mobility without any pain. You're going to have a couple options for this next one. As you inhale, start to come back towards center. And then I'm going to switch my legs here because you're going to be able to see a little bit better. But you're going to stay on the same leg. So stay on the same leg. Your right arm is going to be supportive here. Wrists, forearm parallel to the short edge of the mat, and shoulder and elbow are stacked here. Now for your first position, this left hand could be on the left thigh, wherever the leg is forward. You can use that as a counter force to open up the twist in the opposite direction that you were just in. If you have the ability at this point, now I haven't done a lot of extension with the leg here, so I want you to make sure that you feel comfortable reaching back for this foot at this point. Some of you, it's available, so if you want to take that binding option, take that binding option. As you push the foot into the hand, you're going to create a taut feeling in the arm. You lengthen the sternum away from the belly button, and we're going to hold that shape there. So either the top of that right foot will be down on the floor, or you're going to be binding it. Release that bind if you've got it. On the inhale, come back to center. And both palms supportive again. Get body weight out of your hips first. Take downward facing dog. Take a resting breath there. And then we're going to switch sides. Now that right knee is going to come forward. We take the side stretch first. So once you get the lower half of the body established, make adjustments. Get the support on your right hip if you'd like. Lengthen, start to walk the hands off toward your left. Your spine is in some slight extension here. So be conscious of that. As you keep the left arm supported, we're going to reach that right arm a little bit further forward. We've got just enough weight and counter force through that left arm and upper back to accentuate a twist. That twist should feel like it's moving more through the upper back than your lower back, for sure. Upper back, chest turning toward the wall on your left here. Keep the hips pretty stable and even. And some of us might be refining our twisting here, really focusing on the spine and not shifting from the hip or the lower back. Inhale, come through back to center. Make any minor adjustment that you need to. You might even have more availability in the hip at this point. And then we'll take that left forearm down, shoulder over elbow, right hand on thigh here, and emphasis on the twist from the lower rim of the rib cage through the chest. And then you can take that bind if you'd like. Remember, we're not squeezing the heel toward the hip and shrugging the shoulder up. We're in a taut feeling, lengthened as we twist. Breathing here. One more breath on this side. Release that bind. Meet back in downward facing dog. Take your time if you're still taking a breath or two in that variation of pigeon. We're going to start to walk the hands back toward the feet. Once your heels are down, come up halfway, lengthen the torso. Bend the knees generously, belly on thighs for Uttanasana. Grab opposite elbows or intertwine the arms around each other. Let the head be heavy. Relax those neck muscles. Get some traction there for the spine and a little opening space for the shoulder joint. Arms staying down. Strong legs, back and abdomen. Come all the way up on the inhale. We'll sweep the arms to the side until we get palms to touch overhead. And then lower the arms back alongside the body. Make sure knees aren't locked out as you take a couple of resting breaths here in Tadasana. We'll shift body weight into that left hip. Take that right leg in front of the left. And we'll line those big toes up as best as we can. Root through both feet as best as we can. Keeping the shoulders squared off toward the wall that we're facing. We're going to take that right arm up, lengthen and lean to the left. Left arm can relax alongside the body, or left hand can rest here on the right rib cage. Noticing how the body is responding to the breath, any areas that the shape is able to access. You might even notice that with the legs in this position, there's a little bit of a balancing component here. We are needing to engage the legs and these core muscles and the hips just enough to, stop from falling over, but try not to create this stiff, rigid feeling in the body. And moving back through to vertical center, and then unravel the legs and switch sides. Square the shoulders off. Don't worry about squaring the hips off. Left arm goes up. Lean to the right. The lift and lengthening quality in this posture is just as important as the leaning. Strong side body on the way back to vertical, and we'll unravel the legs. And any position where the feet are about parallel, you can take them about hip-width distance apart. Bring fingertips in front of the shoulders, thumbs behind the shoulders like so. And then we're going to do big circles here with the elbows so we get good range of motion for the shoulder joint. Feeling those upper back muscles get a stretch as the elbows come forward. Stretching the chest muscles and the elbows go back, and vice versa. Checking with the breathing pattern. Also, when you take the elbows back, just notice if the lower front rib cage juts forward excessively. Just be mindful of that. That's where we're compensating, and there might be some restriction in the shoulder joint in the upper part of the spine. So we want to access as much as we can that movement in our shoulder blade and not compensate in the rib cage or spine. Reverse the direction. And then arms will come down. With the left foot forward, right foot back, it might come more toward the middle of the mat. We're going to set up where our heels are about one leg's length distance from front to back heel. And a slight angle there with the foot, knee, and right hip. Square shoulders off toward the front. Take your time to forward fold and hinge at the hip. Your hands might stay at the thigh. They might go past the knee onto the shin. Some of you might feel comfortable coming a little bit further down, hands on blocks or the floor. If you do feel like you're over activating or overstretching the upper back muscles. You might be mindful of that. Maybe come up a little bit more. See if you can regain some length. Square the shoulders off toward the floor. Any minor adjustments. We feel like you're accessing more of the back line of the body from the sole of the left foot through the calf, the back line of the thigh, thick of the muscle, somewhere up here in the hip, the lower back, instead of just straining out one particular area of the body. Come back up and bring those hands back to the thigh to assist. And then we'll switch sides. Right foot forward, left foot back. Same distance from front to back heel. Remember, a little gap there from the inside of the right foot to the back of the left heel. Squaring shoulders off. When I hinge at the hip here, stronger back leg, weight, settle back into the hip structure as we lengthen the rib cage away from the hip. This posture is called Pacifying, translates as flank stretching pose. So we want to be mindful of lengthening the sideline of the body as we take that forward fold. Checking with your breathing pattern. Nice and easy. Breath come in, fill the space. Long exhalations. Come back, maybe hands assist, back to vertical. And then the left foot comes forward. And we'll take the facing the long edge of the mat. The wider stance here, arms to a T formation, ankles will be past the elbows for sure, closer toward the wrists. All the toes are going to point straight ahead. This gives a little more internal rotation of the thigh bones. We're going to take the forward fold here, keep the neck neutral, hands can go on legs, anywhere below the knee, towards ankles, or maybe hook fingers underneath the outer edges of the feet. Restorative Pranayama. We're going to stay slightly in a forward fold, but just get a nice long spine here. You're going to go toward the back edge of your mat into a runner's lunge. And then bring the back knee down. We're going to take revolving side angle. So we're going to bring the torso up and either brace that arm against the thigh if you prefer to have that arm down on the floor there, and take this variation like so. Feel free. Any other variations that you're familiar with, arm brace against the thigh, any binding options that might be available for you here. You might straighten out that back leg or bring the heel down. I want to give you some options here based on how you're feeling. Remember, if we are in a warmer climate right now, this is one of the classes that we have during the summer months. Those of you that might be watching the video, you want to feel like you're taking yourself just to the edge enough with your practice where you're still able to explore maybe some boundaries, or have a little fun with your practice without overexerting and creating too much heat in the body. So we're looking to avoid excessive heat. And we're going to come out of that twist. Make sure you get a good 3 to 5 full breaths in that twist. We're going to then come back to that long edge of the mat, go back toward the front edge of your mat. We're going to do the same variation of the twist on the last side here, on this side. Make sure you set yourself up. Nice long feeling in the torso. Do your best to do that same variation. Check in with your breathing pattern. Hold the shape. of that for those 3 to 5 breaths. And then we'll slide that other foot back. You're going to come to sit back in between the feet in Virasana. Make sure hips are supported by something, if not the floor. Block bolster combination of props. Once we're in Virasana, some minor adjustments here. Settle in, and then we'll take eagle with the arms. Left arm under the right, interlock elbows, cross and twist the wrists as best as you can. Elbows about shoulder height, shoulder blades drift down the back. Relax your eyes, relax your jaw. Unravel, switch sides. On that side, slowly come up off any props that you're on, set those off to the side. We're going to cross the ankles, bring the feet forward in front. And getting the hips a little higher than the knees with seated forward folds and twists are more comfortable. Go ahead and set yourself up for that now. And then we'll start with the left leg extended. And bend the right knee and bring the sole of the right foot to the outside of the left thigh. Left arm wraps around the shin. Lift and lengthen on the inhale. Twist on the exhale. Back arms there for support and length. And that front arm is there to help maintain the twist. You may also want to check in with that extended leg, toes pointing straight up. And if you want supported hips or left knee slightly bent, feel free to do those modifications. All through the twist gently in the cervical spine. That compression in the navel, drawing the attention down toward the pit of the navel. On the next breath in, come out of the twist, and we'll switch sides. And set yourself up. Make sure we lift and lengthen on the inhale before taking that twist. I'm going to give you a couple options here for the inversion. If you'd like to do a full shoulder stand, feel free to take shoulder stand. If you want something a little less, a little less physical exertion, still getting the feet over the hips slightly elevated over the head. You take a bolster or a folded up blanket and just have that by you. You can come onto the back. You can lift the hips up. Make sure the hips and the lower back are supported by whatever is underneath you at that point. And then you can bend the knees, take the legs up. And legs don't have to be perfectly straight here. They can be slightly bent, whatever is most comfortable for you. And then you can also take the legs up against the wall if you want something even more restorative. So legs would be up against the wall here, heels would be touching, hips don't have to touch the wall or anything like that. And then with this more kind of restorative approach to the inversion, we can actually stay up here a little bit longer. So those 10 full breaths here in this shape with either legs against the wall, you can still take somewhere between 7 and 10 breaths in shoulder stand if you're practicing shoulder stand. Again, if you're experiencing some pretty high heat, already feeling like you have a little bit of sweat on, you might take this more restorative approach. If you are taking that more restorative approach, once you have this position, hips, navel, it's going to have to stay firm to keep the legs in place, but relax your shoulders and your arms. So there'll be a tendency, if you're engaging the lower half of the body, to keep the upper half of the body engaged as well. And know that you can relax your arms and your shoulders, neck and jaw here, while keeping the integrity in the lower half of the body. Just notice what that feels like too when you make that shift. So even though we're not doing a full immersion here, there's still quite a bit of core going on, stabilization to keep this shape. A little more relaxed position with the legs braced up against the wall. Second breath in, maybe lengthening the exhalation by 1 or 2 seconds longer than your inhale. Take a little bit of time to set up. Just know that you can stay in the shape. You want to make sure you can get in somewhere between 7 to 10 full breaths. The benefit of helping the venous system move blood up to the heart and lungs, more oxygenated blood up toward the brain. When you're ready, you can bring the body down, soles of the feet on the floor. Maybe take a resting breath if you're in shoulder stand, and then if the hips were supported by something, you'll slide that out from underneath you, and we're on the back. If you were in shoulder stand, it might feel good. Just rock your head a little bit from side to side. Take a couple breaths. There, get knees over the hips, hands on knees, do circles here, knees, use your arms to do the movement, keep the legs relaxed, hips relaxed, maybe 3 or 4 times in each direction. And then you can take a moment to assess the physical body. If there's any other simple movement that you feel would bring further compensation into any joints or muscles, feel free to set yourself up for those postures. Just taking a moment there, take your time. From there, we'll meet in corpse pose or shavasana. Do set yourself up in any particular way, something under the knees, something over the eyes. Feel free to set yourself up as you find your most comfortable and neutral position for the physical body. Excuse me. There's no rush. Take your time. You are ready great to start settling into Shavasana. Take those first few breaths to settle into the physical body, relaxing tension around eyes, jaw, shoulders, hips, and navel on the first few exhalations. Use the first few inhalations to draw your attention inward. Really pay attention to how the body is responding to the breath. And establish the mindset of being receptive. So we absorb and assimilate the benefits of the practice today, and considering all the facets of our being, physical body, our mental and emotional body, our spiritual body. In any ways that practice could have brought more balance or harmony into our being. We accept with gratitude, with grace. Continue to allow all the muscles in the bones give into gravity, fully resting. Start to create some movement in the physical body. Start taking deeper breaths in. Slowly move your way back up to a comfortable seated position. You may want the hips higher than the knees. And for our breathing technique today, we'll do that cooling breath of Sheetkari. This is where we're breathing slowly through the mouth, the lips slightly open. The breath is going to move through the teeth and ride over the tongue. Sometimes there's a slight slurping sound with the saliva in the mouth as you breathe in. That is one of the components. So just allow that to happen naturally if that happens for you. Continue to slowly breathe in through the mouth. Remember, we're exhaling through the nose. The lips will close again as you're exhaling. You might start to find a cooling sensation starting to happen over the tongue towards the back palate. And eventually you might find some sensations, cooling sensations, happening then towards the base of the skull and down the spine. Take any gesture with the hands that you're comfortable with. You can close your eyes or fix the gaze at one point toward the floor. The breath is nice and slow. Close the lips. The exhale matches the inhale. So that's also just a nice, easy breath out. And you'll continue at your own pace. And with each breath, you might find that cooling sensation more apparent through over the tongue and toward the back palate. Sensations occurring in the physical body, being aware of those sensations. And one last round. Your last round, take a moment for observation. Just any shifts in the physical body, nervous system, condition of our mind. Inhale, allow the attention to drift outward, space around you. As you exhale, feel the support of the floor underneath you and your body weight settled into spine and hips. Bring the palms together in front of the heart center. We'll take a moment for reflection and gratitude. Anything that moves through our hearts and our minds, we'd like to acknowledge and give thanks for. seal the practice by chanting Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Inhale. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. May all beings, without one exception, know peace and be released from suffering. So it is, and so it shall be. Sleep the eyes. Thanks for joining me. Take your time getting up. If there's any questions, let me know.